Hey everyone, Chris Sawyer here. The Varietal Show is back. I am here with my great friend Greg Brewer, and you know what? We're just celebrating something, and that's the reunion of me and him and this great Brewer-Clifton wine, but also everyone that's here at the World of Pinot Noir celebration this week. And you know what, Greg? You and I have been we've been great friends forever. Here I am in Santa Barbara County once again. You're such a great person and a great personality and an amazing winemaker in the Sta Rita Hills. And you've known Santa Barbara County. You've watched it really mature as an area. And here we are together. We're finally coming back, and we're enjoying wines together. Doesn't it feel good?
It feels amazing.
Yeah.
No, it feels absolutely incredible. I think, for me, it's been so fortunate to have worked here for 32 years now, and there's all the beautiful pioneers that paved the way.
Yeah.
And then, we jumped in, I jumped in essentially kind of on, second chapter, if you will, within the area.
Yeah.
And seeing how it's blossomed over the past couple of decades is really rewarding, and this past couple, years has not been the most fun, obviously, but it's also... It's also offered a lot of us time to kind of be, reflect and be nostalgic and contemplate our place within it.
Yeah.
And that's been meaningful, I think, because I've only worked in Santa Barbara, specifically Santa Rita. And I love all of the regions.
Yeah.
They're all awesome.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm asked how'd you pick Santa Barbara? I didn't. I'm just a product of this place. And I'm very loyal to it.
Yeah.
It's like a spouse.
You are
really,
incredibly
cool.
loyal. I live in Sonoma County. Basically, I was born in Santa Rosa, but when I was born there, I got lucky. How lucky was I to get born in Sonoma County? But I have done nothing but follow what's been happening down here ever since I got into this business, and that's why Greg and I have been friends for a long time, and that's why I think it's very special to be down here representing them and just talking to these great personalities that really made this area special. You guys might see the show that I did with Richard Sanford, one of our icons of California wine, and really someone that really put
Global,
Pinot Noir,
really,
put Pinot Noir on the map, that we can do this here in California. Today, we got a lot of people in there tasting through not only your wine, but everyone's wine. And it was a great showing of the camaraderie and the love for Pinot Noir. And I think you've done such a great job about that, Greg. And tell us a little bit about your background, too. I mean, one year, it's a number of years ago, I'd say about 5 years ago, I got to do this amazing thing on Mary Edwards, where I had 3 different winemakers that were there to honor her along with me as the MC. And Mary Edwards is a legend of California wine history. But you were one of those people that really kind of blossomed because you got to know her and you got to think a little bit different. Tell everyone a little bit about that.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about this industry is that nothing is new. It's wine. I mean, it's like wine. It's like fire, water, Tarzan, Jane. I mean, wine's very primitive. It's been around for a gazillion years. No one's doing anything new, right? And so what's so beautiful about that is when you kind of take little bits and pieces from everyone else who's so gracious about sharing their experience and their knowledge. And then when those same people then reach out to you to speak on their behalf, it's like the greatest compliment in the world. So be it Josh Jensen or Mary or the different people where I've had that privilege. Burt Williams, I mean, it's like it's like when you're asked to do that, it's like the most amazing thing. And so that was a really special night with Mary. And from my background, I started off here, right down the street, teaching French at UC Santa Barbara. And then I got a job at a tasting room at the Santa Barbara Winery, where, it was the most amazing, incredible experience of my life. And one day behind the bar there, I knew this would become my life. Bruce McGuire took me on as an assistant, and I owe him the world. He's still there. He's been there for 42 years now. An incredible, super humble, quiet, under-the-radar guy. Amazing individual. I mean, 99 point whatever percent of everything we do is him. It's just like carrying through his thing. Yeah. And then, and so that's how it all started. I became their assistant, and then we started this project in '96 with 12 Grand. It was myself and Clifton, obviously, and we had 20 awesome years together, and that's that. But the cool thing about Santa Barbara Winery, a lot of cool things, but their vineyards are in this area that we would later map and define as Sta Rita Hills. So just like you're born in Santa Rosa and you had the Sonoma thing, professionally I was born here.
Yeah.
And so it's like my hometown provincial pride thing, you know?
Exactly. So we've got a great wine here. This is Machado. This is a 2019. Tell everyone a little bit about this wine that you're pouring today.
Yeah, so this, we started with 12 grand. We purchased fruit from people, and then things went pretty well for us along the way. Some ups and downs for sure, but enough ups where we could start planting vineyards. We didn't have money to buy land, and so we leased land from some beautiful ranch owners and families here. Machado's being one of them. So they've been in the area for over 100 years, Portuguese descent. Incredible people, and they entrust us with about 15 acres of their land that we started leasing in '08. We planted the vineyard. And this one little section there, we determined this blend before we planted, which is what we do. It's all predetermined for us. It's not about us judging or being an arbiter of anything. It's all like a prearranged marriage because we surrender to the landscape that way. It's like a trust fall into the appellation. So 2 clones here, one Mary Edwards clone, the other one's called 459. Equal parts, all whole cluster like always, aged in barrels that are 10 to 25 years old. And that's cool, I think, too. Like, some of the barrels that held this very wine have held every single vintage we've ever produced, which is a cool thing, It's like seeing a musician play, like a concert, and you might have seen them play in high school, and then you see them play 25 years later, and you're like, oh my gosh, they're playing the same bass, like Sting or whatever. You're like, whoa, that's the same bass I saw in '84. And it's cool, like there's resonance with time.
And sometimes it's when you do it like that too, you keep the same kind of winemaking. I mean, it's not like you haven't changed anything, but
very little.
But the maturity of the vines kind of show a little bit more.
Yeah.
And that's really where, in the vintage, the character of the vintage shows. And I feel like this one, it has a lot of good fruit. I mean, there's so much richness in here, natural richness. It's got a lot of red fruits, but mainly black. I mean, it's just like, it fills the whole mouth with flavor. And I really love that. What have you gotten out of the clone, the Mary Edward clone 37 from?
Well, I think a lot of things. I mean, she too relied on stems a lot. And so it's kind of a bespoke clone in some ways for that. The storyline of her propagating that bud from Mount Eden in 74, whatever it was, I mean, that's a crazy cool story. And then also just her trusting us with the budwood and to kind of further her legacy through our vineyards here. And sometimes, like people talk about barrels or clones or sites or whatever, and that's fine. But then there's an emotional thing, and not to be too hippie touchy-feely with this, but knowing that's going on and knowing how high the stakes are, because we're carrying her legacy, we're carrying Machado's family legacy. It's heavy. It's beautifully heavy, and I think it just fuels the wine to be what it is, because it's not just about this or that. It's about something more fundamental.
Exactly. I'm going to reach for this glass, and we're going to pour that out real quick, and we're going to move on to the next one. We've got the other one. Here's the straight Sta Rita Hills. This is your 2020. This is a young vintage here, 2020. For you, how was it down here? I mean, obviously we had some problems up north, but the interesting thing, and I want you all to know this, it wasn't the same down here, everyone. I mean, yes, you'll hear about Napa Valley and Sonoma County stories and all these things that happen up north, but it wasn't like that up here or down here. And that's the wonderful thing about this and why it tastes so lovely and wonderful. And it's really the real deal. So this is a really nice little blend here. So tell us a little bit about this sort. I know it's from your estate stuff.
Yeah, so it's all of our estate vineyards. We only work with those, and so it's 3D Machado and Hapgood. And all raised the same, so predominantly whole cluster fermented like we've always done, long time to fermenter, old barrels, et cetera, et cetera. And 20 was really solid, and I think about 20, and it's all of our friends really navigated some complicated stuff up north, emotional, financial, relationship. It's hard. A strain, it's hard, and I feel so bad. And, during a harvest, it was great down here, and I was very, very low profile about that, because I was like they're really navigating heavy stuff, and we're not. So I'm just going to be quiet and chill, and we'll do our thing. And what was really a neat kind of, a good result's not what I'm trying to say, but I loved when I got some phone calls from friends up north that were looking to compensate for vineyards that they had lost or different things going on, and I love that. We had some, and then because I've been here for so long, I had access to other stuff. It was a couple text messages to growers, and I knew they were maybe long on a little bit of Pinot. I had friends up north that were short, and it was like being a matchmaker, and that was, with a difficult situation, at least I was able to forge some of those, which felt good, in the heat of battle, being like, oh yeah, I got you. Like I can hook everybody up at once.
Yeah.
You know,
It's amazing. Well,
like a Lompoc madam,
yeah,
an ugly bald one.
I love it. Not ugly at all. You're a special person to us, all of us. You know, and I love the liveliness and the, you know, it's got that unique character of Sta Rita Hills. You know, one thing that we were talking about yesterday with Richard Sanford and I, and he really loves the raspberry character that you find in a lot of these wines. This, to me, it has a black raspberry character, and it has so much liveliness, and it's so fun to have in your mouth. There's a vibrancy to this that's young and it's exuberant right now.
Yeah.
But it also has enough structure that you can really go, you know what, I can't wait to buy a bunch of this and put a bunch of it away for, 6 years to 10 years, and let's just talk about it later too.
Yeah.
I want to experience it now and I want to experience it later, and that's what makes me wonderful. I think it's just a wonderful example of a great Pinot Noir from Sta Rita Hills. It's not only showy now, it is showy, but it also has that complexity that can really take it to the long haul.
Thank
you know?
you.
Yeah.
I also something too, like at the risk of sounding like arrogant. It's not even like no, it's not even a compliment towards the wine, but sometimes our wine, like Sta Rita, and then particularly with whole cluster, the wines for me are very, they're very raw. They're very primitive. Like I sometimes don't think about. Like when I smell this, I don't think about wine even. It's like, I think about like wild berry bushes.
Yeah.
Like my folks divorced when I was young. I'd visit my dad in Connecticut, during the summer, and I remember walking down towards the ocean, in Long Island Sound, August, New England, like wild berries, and like the greenness of those wild berries, the berries themselves.
Yep.
And Sonoma might have stuff like that too. But
Absolutely, we do.
But sometimes I smell this, and that's where my mind goes first. It's like a wild, savage berry bush situation more than like
It's
I get
briery.
this and this.
Briery. It's
brambly,
like
briery,
brambly,
raw.
Yeah. It's like when you go down to the creek and you find those juicy berries.
Don't you get that? I mean,
I do.
It's
100%.
It's like a summertime
100%.
experience more so than anything
100%.
else. Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's great.
Look at me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot of
Oh my
fans
gosh.
rushing the
Oh my
stage.
God. We can't even get you in this video, but yeah.
Oh, you're
You can get in there.
Yeah,
Get in
that's
there.
okay.
Get in there.
Lando in the house.
Yeah, jump in there.
Woo. Yeah.
Guest appearance.
Lando.
Yeah,
Don't forget
there we
about
go.
Sam Lando in the vineyard. It's like,
Our backup dancers. Yeah.
Hola.
Okay.
see, this is real, you guys. We're not
Yeah.
kidding around. This is not fake news here. This is real. It happened. But no, I mean, I just think that you're right. I feel like I'm in that great experience as a kid when I get those flavorful things in my mouth, and I don't even know what I'm thinking about at the time, but they're just fruit flavors that are explosive.
And when wine can do that,
Yeah.
that's cool, yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about memories, if you think about nature, for me, that's rewarding, more so than like the resultant wine. I mean, that part's fine, and hopefully the wine's fine, you know what I mean? That's great, but like, that's what captures me more, and it's something more primitive, something more carnal, something more elementary.
Yeah.
That's really what we're going for.
I love it. And it has like almost like an allspice kind of thing in there where it's got that little bit of pepper, it's got that little bit of clove, it's got that little bit of cinnamon, it's got that little bit of nutmeg.
Stem magic.
It's stem magic, you guys. Don't try this at home, but you could taste things like this at home if you know these wines. So the Brewer-Clifton wines, you make some other wines, don't you?
Yeah, there's Diatom, which is our sister Chardonnay label. So there's Brewer-Clifton Chardonnay, of course, and then there's Diatom Chardonnay, and then a little bit of Syrah that we do under ex post facto.
I know, I
Those are the
love those
three.
wines so much, but
Those are the three.
you and I, we have a great relationship.
Thanks,
We're good
man.
buddies, and
Yeah.
I just wanted people to know that we're very excited about Pinot Noir and where it's at. Me as the writer, the sommelier, the lover of things, But you're the star down here too. You are a star.
you're here so much, though.
This guy's a superstar, you guys, and he's like one of my buds, and we follow each other. And this is the wonderful thing about bringing us together at the World of Pinot Noir. And please don't forget this. This is going to happen next year, and I hope to be doing a seminar here next year. And you should be here with us, but you should be tasting these amazing.
And hopefully I'm on the
Brewer-Clifton wines.
seminar.
Yeah, I know.
Hook me up.
I
Hook a
know.
brother up.
Hook
Come
the
on.
brother up. What? Yeah. Anyways, you guys, thanks so much for joining
Thank
in
you.
the
Thanks for
Varietal
having me.
Show. And don't forget about this man, Greg Brewer and Brewer-Clifton Wines. And it's just such a great thing to be here. Thanks, brother.
Thanks for having
Absolutely.
me. All right. Bye,
Cheers,
guys.
you guys.
Call me anytime.
Bye. Ching.